Hey, what is up guys? KJ Kitty here, back at you with another video. This video is going to be a little different. I'm going to be talking about Saints Row 2022, and I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on the game and tell you guys, pretty much to put it bluntly, how ass it is. This game doesn't need much explaining. You could watch gameplay of it and agree like, oh yeah, you know, you guys probably already know this by now. You guys just want to hear somebody else rant about it, which makes a lot of sense, but you could really hear it in the tone of my voice. Like, I am not happy about this game. This game, whenever I was a little kid and I played Saints Row 1, you know, I have to refer to Saints Row 1 now, I can't just say Saints Row. You know, they kind of ruined the reboot and just the title in general, because they kind of just forgot about where it came from. They started from scratch. All these characters are brand new, and it's painful to even play it. Like, for somebody who was a long time fan that used to play this game religiously, I discovered this game before GTA. You know, I thought that this was the only game of its kind. Well, back in the day, I didn't really have YouTube or anything like that. It was like 2007, 2008, you know, it was a thing, but you know, I was a little kid. I was literally like 5-6 years old playing. You know, I got to play this game for a little bit before I had to end up giving it back. But this game was really just something that just was unlike any other games. Even after playing GTA, this game is totally different. It has its own charm, its own character, all of that. You know what I mean? And you could see that I'm playing Saints Row 1 in the background with an Xbox emulator on my PC, because I do not own an Xbox, sadly. Yeah, no, Saints Row really took a shit on its kind. It really took a shit on its direction. It's nothing what it used to be. And this is coming from somebody who was a diehard fan for this game. I could even argue that this game is better than GTA in many aspects, but you know, GTA has some better aspects about it as well. It's just my opinion. But as the years progressed, and whenever Saints Row 3 came out, oh man, before that, you know, I was watching the trailers and I was like, oh my god, this is it, guys. This is it. This is gonna be it. And then I played it as a kid and I was like, wow. You know, I got really bored with the game really quick. I think they've been using the same engine like 1 through 4 the whole time. I don't think they enhance. I mean, they enhance features about the engine. They smoothed up the physics, all that, but I feel like it's the same engine that's been in Saints Row since the very first game. And you could really tell from like the driving and the character physics and how they react. But just more polish over the years. And where Saints Row the reboot comes into play, well, I mean, this year they decide, you know, to release a reboot, right? And I was already thinking to myself, like, yeah, looking at gameplay and stuff, it looks like a game I've already played before, and that's not a very good sign. And especially when I actually started playing it, it definitely felt like a game that was made like back in the day. And there's plenty of people that already go over this topic. They got better made videos than I do, and they just explain pretty much bluntly how this game just shit on itself. Not the game itself, it's the people who made the game, because I feel like the game actually has room for improvement, but no, it's too late. It's too late. I feel like this game is forever just going to be known as one of the worst Saints Rows to ever exist. There's people even saying, you know, I've been watching a couple YouTube videos here and there about, you know, people's thoughts on Saints Row, and I get the same thing every time, man. This game is nothing new, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. You know, I to put it in my own words, I mean, it's a shitty game, guys. It's a shitty game. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be enjoyed with your friends, because the co-op mode is okay, but it's just so buggy. It breaks all the time. When I start getting into it, weird glitches, being stuck in the garage, the camera angles being all awkward, and it's just hard to navigate like with this really clunky gameplay. And And whenever I play this Saints Row 1, the Saints Row 1 is the first of its kind, and there's obvious flaws with this. I'm not saying there isn't no flaws with the very first Saints Row game, even 2 for that matter, but what I am saying is that you can have flaws and still have a successful game, a very good game, a very fun to play game for a long time. And I just feel like there was more passion that gone into the first 2 Saints Rows than there was, 3 kind of had some passion. They brought back some old characters. You're in Steelport, and it's a different city and all that. Yeah, no, it's not very good. All right, it's just okay. That game was mediocre. Okay, that game could actually be enjoyed with your friends, but you could tell that's when the game started to dip. And Saints Row is a game of its own genre. It made its own genre. People say it's a GTA clone or whatever. Just because it's a game where you could steal cars, you could run around and shoot up some people, doesn't mean it's a GTA clone. I mean, other games can do this, and that's what Saints Row proved. It was definitely not a GTA clone. It had its own character. It was great. It was just great at what it did. It had its own charm. It's nothing like GTA at all. I enjoy playing this game. It's like the gunfights are more involving. The character creation is, it was ahead of its time even back in 2006. Definitely ahead of its time. Even nowadays, I would say, yeah, it was definitely ahead of its time. Other than the fact you can't play as a female protagonist in the first game, which if you play the story, you kind of know why they didn't go with the female protagonist in the first game, that is. And there was possible limitations at the time with that. But in the second game, they allowed all that kind of customization. And then in the third game, they went even further with customization. But I feel like as the games progress, the customization is like the highlight. You can make Albert Einstein, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. You could make Paul Blart. You can make the GTA protagonist. You can make pretty much anybody, all right? You can make your fucking favorite porn star, all right? You can just make whoever the hell you could think of. And that's cool. That has its own charm about it. That's a good part of the game, even the new game in 2022. But where it seems to fall off is the writing, the story itself. The story, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm talking shit about this game. I haven't even completed the story. I don't think I need to, because the gameplay is so repetitive. It's so just boring. It's soulless, is what a lot of people will say about it. And take note, this is the game that I played before I knew GTA existed, okay? This was my GTA as a kid. And what it tried to accomplish back in 2006 and 2008 was just trying to be itself. It had its own charm. Like I keep telling you guys, I'm not going to make this a crazy video on it or anything. It's horrible to see where Saints Row has gone, and it's been like this forever, and I kind of gave up on the game itself. I hate to say it, but at the same time, I really don't, I feel like if I said I'm still with it, I'm still hoping, there might be a little bit of hope, a little bit of passion left in this project. I mean, it's just, no, I'd be hating myself if that was the case, man. Like, when it comes to this game, I know exactly what this game was about, and if the developers that say that it's going to be more like Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2 deliver this bullshit, then obviously they never played this game religiously like I did at one point. They never played this game, they never completed this game, I feel like, they only add like freckle bitches in the game. What happened to pouring the 40s on your downed homies, or what happened to the strongholds? What happened to all these different game modes like Snatch, like Mayhem, like Insurance Fraud is still there, I think. Even Escort, Fight Club was good. I think that was in Saints Row 2. I don't know about 1. Yeah, no, this game had way more character, 1 and 2. But I'm going to be talking about 1 mainly because this is where the game branched off at. And this is the most forgotten game in Saints Row history, or even the most underrated game, I should say. in gaming history, overlooked. People did not acknowledge that this game existed. They probably did, but they were like, 2 is a really damn good game. And of course, if you didn't have an Xbox 360, you can't play the first one, which is acceptable. I mean, that makes sense, you know what I mean? But if you guys ever have the chance to pick this game up, or get a hold of it somehow, I totally recommend you guys do, and play for yourself and just see what I mean when I say that game, Saints Row, still has standards. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it was a loss of passion in the project. I think they just decided, let's just try to be funny with it. Let's try to be wacky. The first game is wacky, sure, and like the commercials that they have in like the game, where you listen to the radio and you hear how wacky it is on the radio, and some of these characters are they're very to the point. They kind of say it how it is and shit. Some of these characters are pretty funny. I was looking at a cutscene of this one snatch mission, and there's this one pimp that was like, hey, I need help with this fucking shit. But like, before that, he was like, hey man, I'll hook you up with this one chick I got right now, man, and my only chick. And then she's all like fucking big and fat and shit, just like, Jesus, man, some fat bitch. Is like, damn, dog. I thought that was funny. The way they pulled that off was pretty funny. Like, they can have humor and be gritty and serious at the same time. Like, that is okay, that is good. But just to put it short and sweet, Saints Row is not a very damn good game at all. Saints Row 2022, that is. For I'm not saying Saints Row 1 is by far one of the best games of its time, and one of the most underrated games of all time, for that matter. You guys should definitely consider checking this game out, especially if you guys bought the new Saints Row game. I'm doing you guys a favor. Put that game down, or play it. Whatever you guys got to do. I'm not telling you do anything. I'm just recommending you guys should play this game. And if you guys own Saints Row 2022, or were considering it, or are just curious about it, I recommend picking up the very first Saints Row game, where it all started, and you guys will see my frustration with how Saints Row over the years just shit on itself, because that's exactly what happened, and there's nothing we can do about it, other than the game developers, which they don't really give a shit. Like, the whole game itself, they do not care. The game developers do not care about this game. They do not capture the same soul that the first game, the second game, even the third game. The third game, I would argue, is better than the newest game. The only thing that is better about the newest game is the customization, like I was explaining earlier. And that's very, very low. That's very, very, like, that's it. The music is great. I do like the music in the game. It fits the Saints Row vibe. This, like, if that music was in the game and it was just totally way more polished game, yeah, it would be great. I mean, hey man, beggars can be choosers, but that doesn't mean you guys should let this pass. That doesn't mean anybody should let this pass. Even people that may enjoy it, they may realize later on that, yeah, no, this is bad. I think everybody's agreeing that this is bad. And even the rating it got, I think it got like a 59 on its rating. I just did a quick glance at the rating, and I was like, man, dude, they're letting this one go way too easy, man. I don't know who rated this game higher than it's supposed to be. I think this game should be rated at like a 30 or a 40, maybe even a 20. If you're going to consider a game's rating, you should go based off its predecessors, what it actually came from, its previous titles. That is how a sequel is made. I know this isn't really a sequel, this is a reboot, but that's even worse because it's set to a higher standard. The best call that they could have done with the newest Saints Row is just scrap it completely and make a definitive edition for Saints Row 1 and call it the Saints Row Reboot, or the Saints Row Definitive Edition, like they did with Mafia. That's what I say they should do. But obviously I'm just one person. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would agree with that and disagree with that, however it might be. But I think that right there just goes to show that they're lazy. Like, it's lazy. You could tell it's very fucking lazy what they're doing. and I'm just telling you guys how this is. I may not come off as very professional sounding in this video. Just bear with me, guys. Yeah, it pains me to see that. It really does. It pains me to play the game, not complete it, and talk shit about it like I am right now. I wouldn't be doing this if the game was good. I wouldn't even make a video on it if it was good, alright? I'm not this kind of guy, but I feel like I need to speak my voice. I need to speak my mind on this kind of subject, because I feel like it's not emphasized enough how bad this game is, and what everybody was expecting and what they received was depressing. Absolute dog shit. People they obviously put money into this game too. I mean, they put quite a bit of money for the licensing of the music, the voice acting, all that. Even though the voice actors are great, but the fucking they're fine. They're doing their job, and that's not what I'm hating on here. It's the fucking writing. Whoever written this story, whoever designed the gameplay mechanics, whoever was in charge of all that, they have no idea where Saints Row came from, if that is the case. And if they do, then my god, they just took a shit on it. They just do not respect their elders at that point, alright? This game is a goddamn legend, alright? Saints Row is a goddamn legendary game, at least according to me, and I'm sure plenty of people out there would agree with that. A lot of people like Saints Row 2 because it's pretty much a more polished version of Saints Row 1, but it's a great sequel. Actually, that is the definition of a great sequel. A sequel that was better than its, predecessor. It delivered pretty much everything from the previous game, but it added more things, and it made the gameplay more smoother, the story was more flushed out, more cutscenes, more mini games, more cars. You can customize your penthouses or your lofts or whatever. That's cool. That is what a sequel should be like, is Saints Row 2. I mean, simple and plain. I don't need to speak anymore. If you're gonna make a sequel, at least have it done as well executed as Saints Row 2. Anything less than that, I mean, is mediocre or shit. It depends how much less, which in Saints Row 2022's case, it was pretty fucking garbage, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that. People who bought the game and are trying to appreciate it, I get that. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. That's horrible. That people actually spent their money on this, Spending your money for something is like voting for something almost. Your money does talk. That saying is pretty much like you invest your money in what you vote and what you prefer, alright? So whenever you spend a shit ton of money, or whenever a game receives a shit ton of money, they know they did well, right? But I mean, that's not always the case, obviously, but that you're voting with your money. You're making a decision with your money, and so is everybody else. Hopefully that goes without saying, but people do buy it to check it out, which that's fine, Man, this game is very heartbreaking. As a Saints Row 1 and 2 fan, 3, I mean, as a kid, it was cool for a little bit, but it certainly didn't have the same charm as the first and the second game. I hope you guys get where I'm coming from with this. I don't usually make videos like this. If you guys want me to make more videos like this, if you guys even made it this far, love you guys. You guys are the greatest. You guys are the best. Just hope you guys know that, and Saints Row 2022 is a garbage ass game. And that's all I gotta say. Peace.